For this training workshop on bug bounty. I am Shiva Shivakumar, one of the coordinators with ISAC. As you all know, these hackathon workshops are happening as a part of the Sainik Ranakshetram, which is an Indian Army annual cybersecurity hackathon organized by Military College of Telecommunication Engineering, Rashtriya Raksha University, and Information Sharing and Analysis Center. Information Sharing and Analysis Center, or ISAC, is a non-profit cybersecurity organization having partnerships with government bodies for cybersecurity capacity building. And ISAC conducts various cybersecurity training courses in non-technical, technical, techno-managerial, and awareness. So these hackathons are basically battlefields in which you can prove your cybersecurity skills to defend your country from cyber attacks. As a part of this hackathon, we offer you hands-on free workshop to upskill the participants for competing. So get started by attending these free workshops from the mentors. All undergraduate Indian engineering students and defense personnel can apply for it, and it's a free event. And one will be issued a certificate of participation once they reach the final round. It is also an opportunity to win prizes worth 15 lakhs and national recognition to the winners. Registrations are open only till November 10th. That is just 3 days away from today. So we encourage you to spread the word around and tell your friends and colleagues to be a part of this. You can also interact with the mentors in the community forums and also attend free workshops to upskill yourself. Today's sessions will be on bug bounty, and the instructors will be Ms. Shifa and Mr. Rohit Gautam. Shifa is a web and mobile application developer with a keen interest in web application security and network exploitation. Shifa is also a National Security Database certified bug bounty researcher too. And Rohit Gautam is an avid security researcher with special interest in network exploitation and web application security analysis. Rohit is also a National Security Database certified bug bounty researcher. Over to you, Rohit, for the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction and insights regarding the bug bounty workshop as well as the hackathon which is being conducted. Thank you so much. So here we are today going to discuss about one of the attack that is known as CORS, Cross Origin Resource Sharing. So remember everyone, all the attacks and the practicals that we conduct into this free bug bounty workshops, they are definitely going to be helpful for you in your hackathon. So for the hackathon challenges, there are multiple rounds which starts with level 1, level 2 and level 3. So based on these workshops, definitely you're going to get a lot of inputs that you can implement while you're solving your challenges for that hackathon, and definitely you can increase your chances to win that specific hackathon. So here I would also like to call upon Shifa. She is also the mentor for the web category for this specific hackathon. So hello Shifa. So today we are going to discuss about CORS, as I have already expressed. Shifa would be initiating this particular session, and then I would be taking it forward from there. So over to you, Shifa.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for giving me an opportunity to coordinate with you in this session, as well as Shiba ma'am for introducing about the hackathon. So I am really excited as we are moving forward for this hackathon. There are only 3 days left for the registrations. So spread a word about it, tell your friends about it so that you can collaboratively participate into the event and can win an exciting reward, as well as be a part of national critical infrastructure. So I wish you all very good evening, first of all, and thank you so much for connecting. I can see that someone has asked first workshop. So this is not the first workshop, Anurag. We have been conducting workshops from last. Check out all the recordings on ISAC YouTube channel. I'll be giving you the link into the chat box so that you can just go ahead and check out all the previous sessions. So each session is making will be in catering for web category, or maybe you are enrolling for secure coding, or you can be for SDR. So all the mentors are coming live to share their knowledge on different streams. So I would request you to check out all the streams. See that the by Rohit Gautam here. So we'll start with the session quickly. The topic for today that we have selected is course, that is cross origin resource sharing. Rohit, if you can allow me the permission to share screen, discuss about the topic as well as other questions that you have. Is my stream lagging? I'll keep the video off. So maybe this works.
Yeah, it works, Shifa. So I think because of the bandwidth, if you can keep the video off, that would be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Rohit, I still do not have permission to share my screen.
Yeah, just a moment. Yes, done. Could you please check?
Yes. Is my voice lagging a lot? Okay. Oh, there's a lot of yes. I don't know for what reason. Uh, works out. Give this session to Rohit, and then he can maybe explain you.
Shiva, that is fine.
There's
No,
some lag. There's some
yeah, there's
lag.
some lag on your side, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. No, I guess I'm on VPN. Good now?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay. Thank you so much. So here is the topic that we are going to talk: origin resource sharing, CORS. Some individuals likes to call it as CORS. Some pronounce it as CORS, and some prefer the full form, that is cross origin resource sharing. So I hope now you will be able to estimate that what I'm going to talk about today, about origins, about cross origins mainly. What is origin in my case? So it is a domain, a origin from where we are going to send a request as well as receive the request. So the general meaning of. So I'll not read out the technical definition. Instead, we'll try understanding this with the help of this diagram. So this is
Hey,
a
Shifa.
diagram. I like to
Sorry to
zoom
interrupt.
it a bit so that you all can see clearly.
Shifa,
Okay. So this
interrupt.
is work, and then the technical definition to relate that what all we have learned so far. So then it will be very easy for you to concept. So here you can see an example. Yeah, hello. Voice is breaking.
So let's do one thing, Shifa. Could you please change your browser? Maybe try to reconnect, and I can take up the session from here.
Yes, Rohit, sure. I'm so sorry for this.
All right. Is my screen visible to everyone? Please acknowledge me, and we can start. Okay. So great, great, great. Thank you so much. for the acknowledgement. So today we are going to discuss about CORS, as Shifa has already mentioned regarding CORS. So what is CORS? CORS stands for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing. This is one of the vulnerability that exists in many of the web applications that we have seen, guys. If you're doing bug bounty hunting as well on platforms like HackerOne or Bugcrowd, you would possibly identify this vulnerability as well there. Now let's try to understand this vulnerability, that why this vulnerability is considered to be of significant impact and what could potentially go wrong if this vulnerability is not being fixed on targets. Okay, so first of all, the name stands is CORS, Cross Origin Resource Sharing, and if you could see this figure, in this figure you could understand what exactly is happening. So let me just zoom this a little bit more for you. I think this is the maximum I could zoom. Okay, so let's understand this from here. So here you can see, here is the attacker, okay? Here is the client on your left, and on the right hand side is the server, okay? So what will happen over here is, let's assume the client is requesting to log into www.bank.com, okay, with his correct username and password, and the server has verified that, yeah, you're correct. The username and password that you have provided or the authentication data that you have provided is correct. Here is your user profile. So let's assume the user is user1. Okay, so www.bank.com/user1/profile is the profile data of this client. This is the normal authentication mechanism that exists on any website, and every one of you must be aware about this. Now, the main attack that happens over here is when a third-party attacker, as can be seen over here, who tries to request the server by sending a request saying that, as you could see over here, please trust me and send me the client's data or the victim's data or his profile. The server says, yeah, I definitely trust you. Sure, take this profile data. So this profile is bank.com/user1/profile, which is exactly the same data of the client. This way, the attacker is able to see the client's data or his profile details without the correct username and password or even the session cookie. Now, this really looks very dangerous because the attacker could now ask for someone's profile data, requesting the server to trust him, and the server would definitely trust him now and give the access to the victims or the client's profile details. So I hope you guys understood that the whole attack scenario over here relies on the trust over the victim. So if the attacker, if the server trusts the attacker, then the server is going to share all the details to the attacker of the victim. So this is how it basically happens, and this is how CORS attack work. So what we are going to do right now is we are going to see multiple test cases through which you could potentially exploit this vulnerability onto the server. Okay. Before that, let me show you one of the report that is of Zomato. Okay, so every one of you must be aware about Zomato, right? Zomato has a bug bounty program on HackerOne, and you could see over here that a bug was been reported to Zomato on November 28, 2018. The bounty rewarded is $550. The bug that is reported is CORS misconfiguration, which could potentially lead to disclosure of sensitive information. Okay, so let us quickly understand how this attack works, and then I'm going to explain you this report so you could understand the exact steps and approach that was done by this security researchers, so that you could also replicate the same steps and identify more of such flaws on different websites. So let us see some test cases as I expressed. So the first test case that we are going to see is this, in which we are going to send a request, being an attacker, to an website. So let's consider the website name is bank.com from now for all our test cases. We are going to say that The request is coming from an origin, which is attacker.com. If you could look back to the diagram, here the attacker is trying to send a request to bank.com, which is our server, and the attacker says the origin is attacker.com. And if the server in the response says the access control allow origin, which means the origin that has been supplied into that request is fulfilled, which means if the server trusts attacker.com, then there is also one more condition, that is access control allow credentials true. If both these conditions satisfy successfully, then the server says that I trust you. I trust attacker.com. Also, I'm ready to share the credentials, that is basically the profile details of any particular user that we want to request for to the attacker. This is the first and the easiest test case that one can exploit on any web application. Okay, I hope everyone understood this. Now there are two ways to identify this test case. The first way is your terminal. Okay, your terminal. So from the terminal you can identify this. So you require curl. Every one of you must be aware about curl. So through curl we can send requests. So I'm just going to send a HTTP request to google.com. So curl is a browser alternative of let's say Chrome, Firefox, whatever it is, wherein we are able to send and receive requests and responses through your terminal directly. So I say curl https google.com and hit enter, and you can see we are able to see the response. Now here we can see 301 move permanently. It is redirecting the request to www.google.com, as can be seen over here, which we did not add. So I'm just going to add that. And now we should see a 200 OK response. Okay, this is basically the page source of google.com. We are not interested in this. We want to see that where it has successfully redirected to, and is there a 200 OK. So for that I will use -i. -i is the header which will show me only the response headers. Could you see now? Let me just clear this and show it once more. Could you see now that I have got a 200 OK for the request that I have successfully sent, and these are the headers of google.com that are being set by the server. As can be seen, extreme options, XSS protection, set cookie, cache control, and so on. Okay, so remember, the main motive of showing this is so that everyone understands how to use curl effectively. So the command is curl your target and -I, which will only show you the response headers, because we're interested in seeing the response headers only. Why? Because we discussed right now that when we will send this particular request with an origin attacker.com, in the response headers, we want to see these two headers that should be set. The first is ACAO, which is access control allow origin, which should be the attacker.com, whatever is being set into the origin. And second is ACAC, that is access control allow credentials, that should be true. Okay, so let us try this onto one of that specific target. Okay, so we are going to use this target, techcrunch.com. Okay, so what we are doing right now is identification of a target to be vulnerable. After we have identified a target to be vulnerable, next step would be exploitation of target successfully. Okay, so there are two steps involved in course. First is identification of a target to be vulnerable. Once you have identified, the next step is exploitation of that target. Okay, so here instead of Google, I'm going to use this target, which is techcrunch.com. Okay, and this time I'm going to add an header. Okay, so that header would be -h flag, using -h flag. Okay, and what is that header, guys? You guys can guess. It is going to be an header which is origin, because we have already discussed about this, that the attacker is going to supply an attacker controlled header and is going to see if the server accepts that specific header and even trusts it. So let's say attacker.com, or to simplify, evil.com. Okay, because there are less characters to type, so I'm using evil.com and I'm going to hit enter. Now, this is the response that we have received for this specific request that we fired right now. 200, okay. Can you guys quickly tell me if this target is vulnerable or no? Please have a look, close look, and let me know into the chat section. Does this looks vulnerable to the case number 1 that we have just understood? So we have started getting yes. That's great. Yes, correct. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. So good for all of you who have correctly identified. For others who are not able to identify it still, no problem. If you look very closely over here, this is the first header that we wanted to have a look, which is access control allow origin. In here we can see access control allow credentials is true, and as per the test case that we have understood, if we are able to see attacker.com in ACAO and true in ACAC header, then it confirms that yeah, there exists a CORS vulnerability. That's really awesome. So we have successfully identified a CORS vulnerability. Okay, but we do not have to stop over here. We need to exploit it now. We have to test that does really this target, which is this target, techcrunch.com, does it only trust any attacker supplied domain name, or does it even try to share some sensitive information, guys? Always remember, trusting any attacker control domain name, yeah, this indicates that there is a vulnerability, but you have to create significant amount of impact when attacker.com is able to extract some sensitive data or sensitive information from techcrunch.com. Okay, until and unless you're not able to fulfill or satisfy the second condition, that is extracting or exfiltration of sensitive information from the vulnerable domain name, this attack is not yet complete. Okay, so always remember this. Do not blindly report these test cases to bug bounty program saying that yes, I have identified using curl that your web application is trusting attacker.com, this is vulnerable to this. Yeah, it is vulnerable, but you need to show further exploitation as a POC as well. Okay, don't worry, we are just going to see that right now. Okay, the same thing can be done using Burp Suite as well. So let us quickly configure Burp Suite and let's see that as well. So I have just started my Burp Suite. I have already shared the configuration of Burp Suite in our previous classes. If you have missed what is Burp Suite and how to configure Burp Suite, you could potentially go look back the previous workshop sessions that are uploaded on YouTube. So Burp Suite has successfully started. Now I'll go to proxy options. I'm just quickly configuring this. Okay, I have to configure my browser as well. So I'll go quickly to my browser and I'll say that I want to use the proxy. So I'll go in settings quickly. I'm going to say XY proxy. Yeah, my proxy is already configured. That's really great. And I'm going to use the same target right now, which is techcrunch.com. Okay, this is configured. Yes. All right, so I'm going to do intercept on. Look very closely. So I'm going to load this target in my Burp Suite, as can be seen over here. So you can see the request is going to https://techcrunch.com port 443. And this is the request which is going to a specific host, which is techcrunch.com. This is a GET request to a specific endpoint. So someone asked, Burp has an inbuilt browser. Can we use that? Definitely you can use it. You can hit on open browser and you can use Chrome, the Chrome version. Okay. I have old habits. I was using Firefox since many years. I'm still using Firefox, but definitely this new feature has been given into Burp where there is an inbuilt browser that can be used by just clicking on it. Okay. So I'm just going to right click and send this to repeater because I want to now play with this specific request. Okay, so for people who don't know what repeater is one of the tab or functionality in Burp Suite wherein you can send the request and you can repeat it as many as times you want. So you can consider the repeater tab as a backup option wherein you just send your request and you can do any modifications required into over here like this. You can send the request and you can see how that specific request is behaving. Okay, hence we use the repeater. Or else if repeater was not there in Burp Suite, you would have captured this request again and again by doing intercept on, reloading this and trying to make necessary changes over here. Thanks to repeater, we can repeat the request as many as times we want directly from our repeater tab. That's really awesome. So on the left hand side, you can see in orange, it's written request. On the right hand side, you can see response. So this is a request that I'm sending, and this is a response that I am receiving from the target server. That's really great. Okay, so according to course, we need to add a header, that is origin. So let us add a header origin. So origin colon, and let's say evil.com, and we already know as per the first test case what should we expect into the response. Can you guys please tell me, if you can have a look and tell me if this is vulnerable or no? If you guys are able to see my screen. Yes, this is exactly the same thing that we were able to identify from our terminal. It's really great. I see a lot of people interacting, a lot of yes. That's really amazing. We have 130 participants connected with us. Well, I don't see 130 yes. Is everyone able to understand what we are doing? If yes, please acknowledge. You can also use that emoji button, push that emoji button so we can understand that you guys are with us. We are on the same page, guys. That's really awesome. Great. That's really great. Okay, so yes, we have successfully identified that this target is vulnerable because we can see ACAO and ACAC. That's really great. So guys, we already did this with our terminal and we also identified it using Burp Suite. So it is exactly the same thing. Okay, but I've shown you using both the ways. So in case you are not handy with Burp Suite, you can definitely use the terminal, the curl, and if you're already doing something with Burp Suite, you can definitely try it this way. Okay, great. Now we have understood. Now please let's exploit this. Yeah, a lot of thumbs up. Thank you so much, everyone. That really is helpful to understand that, yeah, people are able to absorb. Okay, so that's great. Now we are going to use exploit code. Okay, for using the exploit code, what you can do is you can simply go to hacktify.in/bug bounty. Okay, go to hacktify.in/bug bounty, and here you can see course. If you can zoom this, so these are basically bug bounty reports that we have created for every one of you. Okay, so you can click on course, and here you can see you can just copy this bug bounty report from here by hitting this copy button, and the report will be automatically copied. You can paste it into a Word document. You can paste it into a Word document and you can send it to any client that you want by doing necessary changes where required. For example, you can see curl request example.com. You can modify this to your vulnerable target, whatever it is. In case it is techcrunch.com, you can modify this and you can do necessary changes here as well. Okay, here as well, and you can send this. So let us try to exploit this. Let's use this exploit code from here. So I'm just going to copy this exploit code from here and take your favorite editor, guys. If you guys like Notepad, take Notepad. If you like Notepad++, take Notepad++. Currently I'm using Sublime, so I'm going to use Sublime Text. I'm going to paste the code over here. This code is very simple. So we are just sending an AJAX request over here. As you can see, the request is going to send a GET request to our vulnerable target. So our vulnerable target now is techcrunch.com/wpjson. Okay, and if we are able to successfully send a request to this specific endpoint, then whatever output that we are going to receive from there we should see it into response.txt using an alert box. Really simple POC code. Let us just try to save this, and let's save this into a file called as course poc.html and hit enter. Okay, fine, everything looks great. Now let us try to open this POC code. So I'm going to say parse POC, and let's try to open it here. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. Can you guys see cause POC exploit, extract session ID, or maybe extract any kind of data from that specific server? Okay, I'm just going to do inspect as well to show you what is happening in the console. And I'm going to click on exploit, click here. So when I click there, can you guys see we are able to get the data from techcrunch.com to our server, okay, to attacker control domain name. Okay, I hope you guys understood this. Yes, we are able to extract sensitive information from there. Now guys, you need to keep in mind one thing, that so this is in POC. Basically this is a complete POC which will explain that yes, we are successfully able to extract or exfiltrate sensitive information from the vulnerable domain name to an attacker control domain name. Okay, so is this clear with everyone? If this is clear, we can move ahead for more test cases. Please acknowledge me, everyone. This was super simple to understand. What is the exploit code doing? Someone asked. So the exploit code is basically trying to send an AJAX request to the vulnerable target. Let me show you once again. It is trying to open and request a GET request to a specific target with credentials true. Okay, and here once it sends a request from this specific source, if it gets a response, then it is showing that into an alert. So what exactly is happening over here is a request is being sent, and the website, which is techcrunch.com, is trusting this specific response and it is sharing its data. Now I could see into the chat section, someone also asked, what if the origin is null? So guys, if you look very closely, this is our actually the second test case that we are going to discuss. Third test case, then we'll move on to the second test case. If you could look here, the origin is attacker.com, but in the response we could see null. Okay, null null. Then also the target is vulnerable. So let's verify this. I'm just going to reload this. I'm going to hit exploit. Okay, we've got the response. I'm going to capture the request. Just a sec. Okay, so you can see over here, I'm able to successfully send a request, and also I'm able to show you guys that we are sending a request from a null origin. Okay, let me again show you once more over here. Yes, can you guys see over here, when I hit on this is basically the request which is being going with 200. Okay, and if you look very closely over here, can you see the access control allow origin? What is it? It is null. Can you guys see this? Please acknowledge me. Can you guys see this? Yes, that means we are able to successfully confirm that test case number 3, if comes, is also vulnerable. That's really great. So we are able to see 2 test cases. Okay, the first is wherein access control allow origin is attacker.com and access control allow origin is null. Both the test cases are vulnerable. Now you may ask, we understood this scenario, but why there is null over here automatically? Could you guess? Anyone could guess this? Why automatically there is null? Okay, could anyone guess it? We are not sending origin header in this case. Correct? Yes, you're correct. So basically what is happening over here is to fool the attacker. @Rohit local. Yes, Shifa, you're absolutely correct. The request is going from my local computer. It is not going from any arbitrary domain name. Okay, the request is going from my local computer, hence it is null. Now I will show you the exact scenario wherein I'm sending an origin from an attacker control domain name. Okay, so watch very closely, guys. Look very closely. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to upload a file on this is my testing server. Okay, I'm going to upload a file over here. Okay, so I have uploaded this. I'll dump this file onto the server. The file coursepoc.html is job done. Awesome. Let's refresh and check. Yes, the file is successfully here. Let's try to click on it. Now, if you look very closely, the file is being hosted onto an attacker control domain name. This is only for your understanding so that you clearly differentiate and understand the difference between both the test cases. Okay. I'm going to copy this. Let's go back to Firefox. Okay, so I'm going to show simultaneously side by side. Okay, I will again open my network tab. Let me just take it a little bit up. Let me hit exploit now. Can you guys see we are successfully able to exploit it again because we know this is vulnerable. But if you look closely this time, what happened? If you look very closely into the access control allow origin, can you see the attacker control domain name is being set? So now every one of you can make out the difference between when the request is being sent from your local computer, the origin that is being set by the server in the response is null. Whereas when you send a request from an attacker control domain name, the origin that is being set by the server is the attacker control domain name in that case. So let us see both of them. Here it is null and here it is srsecure.xyz. Everyone understood, guys? Yes, this is absolutely clear with everyone. Please acknowledge me before we move ahead. Yes, is it easy? Everyone is able to understand? Yes? Wow, a lot of yes, it's super easy. That's great. That's great. A lot of thumbs up. That's great again. Great. Okay, so I hope every one of you understood. Now let's move ahead to the next test case, okay? These two test cases are super clear and we will see the third test case as well quickly. And then I'm going to explain you the report, okay? Actually, I'm going to ask you guys questions. So let me understand. So with that, I will understand that you guys have understood it or not. Before that, let's quickly complete the second test case that was left. So case number 2, attacker.com has been sent in the origin, but in the response, we are able to see a star, okay? Some web applications, you could see a star, okay? What does that mean? So guys, remember, test case number 1 is a perfect test case for us for exploitation and bug bounty hunting and pen testing. Test case number 3 is a perfect test case for us for exploitation and bug bounty hunting and pen testing. Test case number 2 is a misconfiguration and a wrong policy of course that has been implemented on the target website, but not good for us for bug bounties or pen testing. You may ask why. Because there is a star. This star basically means the victim domain, the vulnerable domain is trusting everyone. Okay, the configuration that has been done is to trust everyone out there. Obviously, this is a misconfiguration because using this, the attacker could potentially extract sensitive information for any victim from that specific web application. But the developer may say, due to some reasons, we want to share data with our peers or our clients or other domains, hence we are using a star. So in that case, they are not going to give you a bounty because they have themselves put a misconfiguration over there. Okay, so whenever you see a star, it is a misconfiguration. Attacker can extract sensitive information, but it is potentially not helpful for us to report under bug bounty programs because they will say that, yeah, it is a misconfiguration that we have posted and we are deliberately allowing everyone to extract information from our servers. Okay. Definitely, this should not be a case. It should be fixed. Okay. I hope case 2 is again clear. Case 1 and case 3 are helpful for us. Now, let's go back and let's understand the report that we saw on Zomato. Okay. Then we'll take up these questions that I can see regarding coding languages. Let's quickly understand this and we'll take up questions from the chat box. Okay, so guys, I need your help, please. The report has been submitted to Zomato. Bounty was $550, as can be seen over here. Okay, so let us see the summary. That is cross-origin resource sharing misconfiguration leads to sensitive information. We don't want to read the description because we already understood the vulnerability. The target vulnerable is Zomato. Steps to reproduce. Let us see the POC quickly. Guys, if you could closely look, I'll just zoom it a little bit more for every one of you. This is a request which has been sent to Abu Dhabi endpoint. The host is zomato.com. Can you guys tell me what is the origin that has been set by the attacker? Quickly, let's see the first 10 people who are able to quickly identify that. What is the vulnerable origin that has been set by them by the security researcher or the attacker? Okay, very good. Dishant, Ashish, Satya, developersxzomato.com, Vimal, we are getting a lot of responses. Meet, Devesh, Praveen, Zala, Prashant, Jayant, Krishna, Srihari. Excellent. So you guys are able to see the origin that has been supplied is developersxzomato.com by the security researchers. This is not the domain name that is being acquired or which is related to Zomato. Okay, Zomato does not own this domain name, but that security researcher has used this domain name. And now I'm going to show you the response, and let us see the first 10 people who are able to identify that which is this test case number 1, test case number 2, or test case number 3. So this is the response. 200. Okay, can you guys see quickly? Okay, so let's see. Very good, Ashish. Oh my god, we are getting a lot of answers very fast. I'm not able to read out the names. Really sorry. Karthik, Bimal, Abhishek, Satyam, Sharat. Excellent. Very good. So this is the first test case. Others who are not able to make out, have a look over here closely. Access control allow origin developers xzomato.com. Access control allow credentials true. Excellent, everyone. Now we have identified this to be vulnerable. Now what the attacker did is attacker hosted the same exploit page that we have created onto this website, and he says to click on exploit. So once we click on exploit, you know what is going to happen. This is exactly the same code that we have used, wherein the alert, the response is going to come into the alert, and this is exactly the same code. Okay, and let me show you the screenshot that has been attached. Okay, can you guys see the screenshot? So when we click on exploit, we are able to see the details of the user being shared by zomato.com to developers xzomato.com, which is an attacker control domain name. So I hope you guys understood this. What is the severity of this issue? Let's see one more screenshot. Yes, can you guys see this? When we click on exploit, we are able to see the details of other users being transferred to the attacker control domain name by trusting attackers supplied arbitrary website. Okay. I hope everyone is clear. Understood, guys? So yeah, this is potential vulnerability, and bug bounty programs pay for this. But when will they pay you? When you are able to show the impact like this. Okay, as I've already expressed it in the beginning, just identifying the bug is not sufficient for any bug bounty program. You need to show the impact. And how will you show the impact? In the similar way that I have shown you guys. We did this on SR Secure by hosting it over here. I have explained both the test cases to you in as simpler way I could. And I also explained this report, which is exactly the same that we have done. Actually, you guys explained the report better than me explaining that report. That showed that you guys understood the bug effectively. So that's really great. Now let us see the questions that you have into the chat section. Very good impact of the bug leads to good bounty. That's really correct. Bug bounties is all about creating an impact. If you're able to create a significant amount of impact, then yes, we can understand, or the triager from the bug bounty program can understand, yeah, this is creating significant amount of impact and it has a severity. So your bug will get triaged faster. It will be rewarded faster. Okay. Any more questions? Anyone has any doubts, questions so far? So we can take up questions related to course today, what we have done so far. Let me just scroll. Yeah, we got a question. How does this bug affect Zomato? Is it like an user can get phished, or how to exploit using this? So this is not phishing. So what could potentially go wrong over here is, as Zomato.com, which is the vulnerable domain, is trusting any arbitrary supplied domain name, and is after trusting is ready to share the data, which should not be allowed to share to anyone. Okay, that should only be shared to the client after the client has successfully logged in. This is exactly the same thing that we have seen onto techcrunch.com. Okay, so this bug is affecting Zomato in a manner in which the sensitive information of any user can be requested by the attacker, and the attacker could possibly see that. Okay. Does developers@zomato.com need to be a valid domain name while testing? Okay, so here in this case, this was a special case, guys, in which Zomato has put a strict regex saying that anything in origin.com, whatever domain name that you supply, should contain Zomato. Okay, so that regex was actually not 100% correct. Hence, the security researcher has to take a domain name, has to purchase a domain name that is developer@zomato.com. Sometimes what will happen, let me go in Burp Suite. Sometimes there would be a strict reject saying that, where is the origin here, that the web application is checking techcrunch.com into its origin. So what you could possibly do is you could also bypass that using this way. Okay. This is known as prefix match and suffix match, wherein this is altogether a new domain name. Okay, it is a subdomain of evil.com. So I could purchase evil.com and I can create a subdomain like this, wherein the domain name is expecting something that is TechCrunch somewhere in the origin. Okay, so this sometimes there would be a regex like this, but you can bypass that using this way that we have seen. Okay, so the domain name that was taken by this security researcher was developers@zomato. He could have also taken something like techcrunchevil.com, wherein the web application is checking if the domain name is present in the origin or no. Okay, that's it. But whenever you're testing, guys, you can always put evil.com. Try these 3 to 4 test cases. Put evil.com, put the domain name with evil.com, make it as a subdomain like this and try it. And these 3-4 test cases, if they works for you, then yes, you have successfully identified a potential cause. Try to exploit it. Sometimes it may be a case that techcrunchevil.com, the web application is expecting this origin. Okay, but you need to exploit it, and definitely you cannot, you have to buy in that case this domain name. But sometimes program owners understand, and if you just try to request them, they will understand, and maybe they will approve your bug as well, or they can also reimburse if you are trying to purchase this domain name and showing them the impact. This happens sometimes. We have seen this in bug bounty programs. Okay, so that is possibly that you could talk to the program owners regarding the test case that you have identified in case you need to purchase any such domain like that. Can we exploit access control allow origin null? Yes, we can exploit it, and we have done that already over here. Here, as can be seen, we have exploited access control allow origin null, as can be seen over here. If access control allow origin is not reflecting the attacker.com, but access control allow credential is true or null. So in that case, you could try, if this is the case in which it is not reflecting in the origin header, in the response, you could directly use an exploit code like this and try to put the target domain name and try to exploit it. If you're lucky, you would potentially see what is happening, and if the web application is trusting that attacker control domain name, or in that case, or the developer has tried to hide the responses in the response headers into the response, and you could basically test it using this way, and if it is vulnerable, you could get the response over here into this alert. One thing that you need to check is, whenever you're exploiting such targets, please check the console as well. So let me just exploit it once more. And if you're not able to extract the data from there, from the vulnerable domain name, you should see an error message over here. So let me just click on exploit. Okay, we are not able to see any error message right now. But if we change the target, so let me change the target over here. So let's say the target is, for example, for now, hacker1.com. Assuming this is not vulnerable to CORS, let's reload this. Okay, I'm going to hit exploit and let's see what happens. Can you see cross origin request blocked? The CORS header access control allow origin is missing. So basically it is blocked because the CORS policy is not allowing this, and because we know this target is not vulnerable. Okay, so always make sure that you check the console for error messages. I have seen a lot of time people that they identify using curl the target is vulnerable. They are able to see these headers that have been set, that is access control allow origin, access control allow credentials. When they make a POC like this, they go into the browser and they keep on clicking exploit, but they are not able to exploit it, but they really don't see the console what is happening. Please go and check the console. In the console, if you see it has been blocked, your XHR request has been blocked, that means the target is not vulnerable. That could be a potential case whenever you are doing bug bounty hunting. This was important, hence I've explained you guys, or you would have gone crazy thinking why it is not working when I've identified it correctly. Okay, so please check the error messages into the console as well. All right, so do you have any more questions? If techcrunch.com/wp-json is vulnerable, means techcrunch.com/ is also vulnerable, right? Actually, no. There could be an scenario in which only certain endpoints are vulnerable. Okay, so I definitely suggest that you at least check some of the endpoints for CORS. Okay, and what kind of endpoints you should check? You should definitely check only those endpoints in which you could see some sensitive information into the response. Okay, for example, let me show you testphp.vulnweb.com. Let's go to your profile. Okay, there's a stored XSS over here. So here you can see there is an profile details. Okay, so I will capture this request, and in the response I'm able to see some sensitive information. Okay, so try CORS on these endpoints where you can see sensitive information. Okay, so only pick up those endpoints where there is some kind of sensitive information. Do not pick up those endpoints which do not yield or produce any sensitive information, or some just endpoints like this. Okay, don't try to show CORS POC impact on endpoints like posters. For example, here there is nothing sensitive. Okay, maybe if you're able to see if you identified CORS on this endpoint, and this is a static image onto the server where it is showing poster, how is this sensitive? It is not sensitive. So just don't try to show CORS over here. Try to show CORS over certain other endpoints. I'm saying this to help you guys only, so that you could potentially increase the impact and severity of the bug. Okay. Can we also exploit access control allow origin star? Yes, you can exploit it, but you cannot report it to the program because they have explicitly set it the misconfigured policy, that is star, which means they're already by default trusting everyone. Okay. Can we control what kind of data we want to get from the vulnerable website? So it depends on certain endpoints. What endpoints are producing what kind of data? Okay, so in case you want most sensitive data, I always suggest getting the profile details or those endpoints which are leaking personal information of users. Okay, that will skyrocket your overall severity and impact of the bug, which will potentially help you increase the severity of the bug and also increase the reward of the bug. All right, we have last few minutes left. Let's quickly discuss the mitigation and then we can wind up. So the mitigation for this would be only allow trusted domain names to be shared the data. Okay, so if the attacker supplies an domain name as an origin attacker.com, the web application should not share data with it. Okay, so we have seen steps to exploit CORS using curl, and this is the POC. The alternative to curl is Burp Suite, as can be seen over here. We have added the origin attacker.com, attacker.xyz, and here we can see the response headers. We are interested into these red headers. This is access control allow origin, this and this. Now the severity of the course varies and depends on case-to-case basis, as I've already explained. In situation where PII, which is personal information, is leaked, it can go or being categorized under P3 medium or P2 high with a CVSS score of 7 to 8.9, okay, on HackerOne, Buckrout, or any other pen testing platforms. You guys already know the impact now. We were discussing about the prevention. So the prevention is proper configuration of cross-domain request, that which domain names are allowed. Only allow trusted sites. Do not allow any random websites. Avoid whitelisting null. I see a lot of developers whitelist null. So they should also properly check this, and they should not allow null, because we have seen that from our local host, we can send an origin set that can be set into the response that is null. Avoid wildcards in internal networks. People just add wildcards, that is star. That should not be the case. Here are a few more references where you can read about CORS by using the MDN documents, the developer documents by Mozilla, Portsfigure, and OWASP top 10, OWASP.org cheat sheet. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Thank you so much. Shifa, if you would like to share some inputs, if you're connected. I hope every one of you understood today's session. Yes. Yes. That's awesome. We've got a lot of claps and thumbs up. That's really great. It was wonderful. My first time here and I love it. That's really awesome. We hope that you come again next time. I'm just going to give you permissions. Anushri, I just saw your message. Yes. Anushri, I have given you the permissions. You would like to speak about something, please?
Hello, everyone. Am I audible, Rohit?
Yes, you're audible.
Rohit, it was an awesome session today. Thank you so much. And to all the students, I would like to tell that there's a next session starting on 4th December for Bug Bounty course. So if anybody wishes to register, please get back to me. I've sent my email ID and all the details. So it is bugbounty@isacindia.org. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Anushri, for those insights and details. I see a lot of people asking for the document. This document will be shared to everyone in the YouTube description. Okay, so when this video will be uploaded to YouTube, you can go there and you can get this document from the description section. It will be pinned there, maybe in the first comment or in the description. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you so much, team. Shiba ma'am and Anushri, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, participants, for joining and being so much interactive. It was really great connecting to every one of you. And at the end, thank you so much, Shifa, for joining and being with us.
Thanks, Rohit. Thanks for the amazing session. See you next week.